Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. Tonight we're going to talk about the LB Aventador Coupe and its Stage 6 effects. This is in anticipation of the upcoming event, the legendary Golden Cup, and then followed by the Evolution Cup utilizing the LB Aventador. This will involve a series of challenges, including our ever-present new style challenge of a speed trap and sprint. This being the sprint and this being the speed trap. So I'm going to discuss both the stage 6 effects as well as the way this car works when it comes to speed traps and sprints. The LB Aventador is one of those cars that accelerates very well and has very high top speed. So at full stage 5, this car with full fusion, full stage 5 is already a very quick and effective car to use both in live racing as well as basic challenges. The thing about this car is that it's actually a very good car in that it actually has a very decent time that it can run even at only just stage 5. Not only that, it is also a very quick car that can hit some very impressive top speed. 9.309, 368 miles per hour is what the computer is telling you this car will do just from stage 5. So that's actually very good. This is a full Evo tune. But not only that, it actually is a natural dyno beating car. So even though we're looking at what is essentially a 9.3, I can tell you this car should be able to do under that at stage 5, putting it very close to being able to hit the Tempest 3 license challenge without any stage 6, but with full fusion. Notice what I just did is I launched it and kind of went 2, 3, 4, Nitrous at 5th, and let the car get through. This car spins its tires a lot in the first 2, 3 gears. You want to kind of skip through them without pure skipping, but skip through them as quickly as possible. 9.077, that's probably not the best I can do either. And already this has now beaten a Tempest challenge for tier 3 to get the licensing. Get the licensing. Not, well, actually, that'll beat the final boss too, as far as time is concerned. It will also beat Final Speed Trap. It will also beat most of the 0 to 100 challenges, except that's still slightly off. The one you see on the left here, which I did with some stage 6s, that will beat all challenges. So this is a potential Tempest 3 contender. Absolutely. It's a good card to use for Tempest 3, but you need to know something that it is not very tunable to adjust for speed traps. I'm sorry, sprints. Because the way it's set up, playing with the tires only give you so much. Okay, so that was stage 5 only, and we already see some really good potential with this car. This is a great car. If you got the gold key saved up and you haven't won this at Milestone, get this car. Not to say the FXXK Evo that's coming is a bad car. That's a great car too, and so is this guy over here, which just got buffed. That's an excellent car as well. So we have a lot of good cars coming up, but personally, I really enjoy the LB Aventador Coupe, and for people that don't like to tune, this is a car that you could set to max Evo, learn to drive, and beat dyno and be successful within live. Keep that in mind when you think about which one of these cars you're going to go for in the coming cups. Now, let's take a look at stage 6 effects. We'll start off with Nitrous. Nitrous for this car is important, but at the same time, if you notice, it can't really help up front. Okay, let's take a look at the effects here. So this car doesn't really care that much about duration. I mean, you could tweak it, it'll get a little better, which gives you a pretty low time. Okay, this is coming down from 9.3 to 9.085, 6.0 final duration at 380. Let's test run it, see if we can get it under that time. Given that 9.3 ran a 9.1, a 9.08 should run an 8.9 something, if I do it right. So looking at this duration, I know that chances are it's not going to run out when I hit the um, final gear, or it's going to just run out. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use it in fifth and let it run all the way through seventh. And that pushes it through. Let's see what the car does at this point. 8.834. That is from a 9.0 OXX, what is it? 085, almost 9.1 dyno. So again, it is a natural dyno beating car, very effective and very useful because again, live racing, this car would be a deadly car to face in any lobby, except for maxed. Fully maxed, other cars that are simply faster than you will beat you. But anything before that, this car would be competitive because whatever it dynos and matches against other cars of the same dyno, it can always beat that dyno by a bit. So that was Nitrous. Let's take a look at body. So body, you can see, gave a nice boost in both PP and Evo as well. That bodes well for body being one of the more effective stage sixes. Nitrous duration has now been changed, and unfortunately now we only have 3.0 to play with, but let's see if we can tweak this to get a decent amount. One thing you'll notice is that I'm not really touching the tire. This is the one thing about this car is that the tire settings pretty much stay at 53. So here we have 8.953 dyno already. 8 point, this with body, this car will beat Tempest 3. 2.270 to 100 as well. Beats the fastest challenge in Tempest 3 for 0 to 100. It's a great car. I just can't say it enough. I really like this car, and I'm really looking forward to getting some more stage sixes when I get to that point. Okay, let's take a look at body running down the track. 8.9 dyno. Right, so I'm shifting at 3K and basically slightly early shifting 5 and 6, Nitrous in 5th, running through 7th. Again, you could probably tweak that to get a slightly better time than what I'm getting, but nonetheless, you're looking at some pretty impressive dyno beating times, almost 2/10 no matter which way you swing it. That is a great thing. Now, notice 2.302 isn't the fastest 0 to 60 possible, 0 to 100 possible, but the hardest challenge in Tempest 3 is a 707 pp, 2.313 0 to 100. You already beat it at 701. Plus, top speed is only 285. You're at 379. No issue with any speed trap. And that's going to be the same situation when it comes to the actual event. I bet you the speed traps are going to be no problem for most people as long as you got enough upgrades. The sprints may or may not be a challenge depending on what they set it to. So that's something we need to keep an eye out for. But notice that with just a few stage 6, you should be able to do more than enough to beat the necessary steps for the Golden Cups challenges, not the times. We're not talking about the times yet, but the car beats dyno by 2/10 almost always, so you should be able to at least hit certain times as long as it's kind of close. If the opponent's running kind of close to your dyno, you will beat them. Okay, that was body. Definitely one of the more useful stage 6s. Let's take a look at tire. Lots of PP gain, much less Evo gain. That's going to counteract each other to give us a less effective upgrade than, say, Body's was, because Body had more effective movement with Evo. Even though you have extra PP, what I find is if the Evo really doesn't move much, the effect's going to be a little bit less. Okay, so the extra PP does balance out a little bit, but it's definitely less embodied. Not to say it's a bad one. That by itself is a 3/10 drop. So that is going from 9.3 dyno right down to a 9.0. So right now we got three big boys. We got nitrous, body, and tire all being very effective. That's great. But don't forget, this car ultimately is a 7-second car. And that means if we're talking about legendary Golden Cup, this car will still need most of the S6s to probably hit whatever the final challenge time is going to be. And I bet you that final challenge time is not going to be more than 4 or 5/10 from max of the car. Okay, let's take a look here. That was tire. 8.814. Not bad at all. Again, a clear 2/10 drop. So, this is not bad at all. Okay, let's go back and take a look at the next stage 6. Okay, so we've gone through a few here. These 3 are all very effective ones. Let's see how transmission plays out. Same as tire, but much lower evo. Let's check if tuning will resolve that. It may. Let's take a look. So with this one, you actually see a much less evo at the same PP. This is not going to be as effective as, in fact, this is not very effective at all. It's about a 10th drop from stage 5 only. So transmission's not that strong. I'm not sure if I can tweak it elsewhere to get the points. I don't think so. So that will be one of the first weak stage 6s. So trans isn't that great. I am not going to make a run with it, but figuring 2/10, you may be able to hit 9.0 just with trans. So trans is definitely one of the weaker ones. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. All right, engine. Let's take a look at the effect here. All right, that bodes well, but that didn't move much. So engine should still be a decent stage 6, but it's not clear at this point that it's going to beat tire or body. Again, we should be able to get a little bit more points out of it with a minor tweak. And the dyno will tell the tale. Nope, it's not bad, but it's not great. 9.123 is a 2/10 drop from the time based on 9.3. So it's not terrible. It's better than transmission, but it's not a huge drop at this point. But it's certainly not terrible, so it's a good one. So right now you're looking at body, tire, nitrous, and engine are all decent and helpful to a pretty decent degree. Transmission right now is the weak stage 6 for this car. Let's see if turbo and turbo and intake will do better than transmission. Now this is not boding well. Not a whole lot of evo change, and same PP point as engine means that this is going to be slower than engine. Much slower. So this is really bad. This is a bad, remember, stage 5 only is 9.3. This is 9.27. So not very impressive at all. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. So here we're looking at the final stage 6, the intake. The tale is going to be told by this. So this one being 1 point higher on the PP and almost the same evo should outperform turbo. But is it likely to outperform engine? Probably not. And it does not. It is a 9.276. In fact, it actually is still worse than turbo, which is a 9.270. Although I probably could tweak it to get some more points out of it. Ooh, not very good. So looks like turbo and intake are two of the worst. Stage 6 followed by transmission, and then you're looking at engine, nitrous, tire, and body being the top four. So chronologically speaking, best to worst, you're probably looking at body, tire, uh, nitrous, and then followed by engine, trans, turbo, and intake. So those are your stage sixes in order of good and bad. So what about this golden cup? Well, legendary golden cups are not known to be easy. Let's say we put in all the good stage sixes, okay, which would be nitrous, body, tire, and engine. We're only missing three of the weaker ones. Where does that put this car? Well, it should put this car well into the low eights. At least that's the hope. We'll find out based on tuning just how much we can push it. Now you're looking at 2.0 final gear, so this car's top speed is over 400 miles per hour. Same here. And does this make it better? So 2062 707 gives you 8.163 low eights at 408 to 409 mile per hour. This should run, if driven properly, sevens. So 7.9 is quite possible. I'm going to find out what the dyno tells me the maxed Evo with fully maxed is next, so we can see what the margin here would be. Based on the stage 6 effects of trans, turbo, and intake, it should be around a 7.7 dyno or so when it gets to fully maxed. Maybe a little better, but I don't think it's going to run much lower than that. So at least for dyno. Let's see what we actually ran. 7.9. So that's about what I expected, a little bit under in the sevens. Is that going to be enough to beat Legendary Cup? Let's see what the fully maxed theoretically can run without a world record run, of course. So we're going to add in the rest of these guys. This has gotten lower, which means there's some possible tweaking that I need to do. Interesting. Will this help? No. So at fully maxed, the Evo actually went down a little bit. Maybe I'm not tuning it right, so let's not. So it says 7.963. If it still beats dyno the way it has been always, it should run a 7.8 something to 7.7 something. I don't know if that's in fact what the world record sheet calls for on this car, because I never looked at it for this particular car. But that seems like it's close. But that means that the dyno is now what the car pretty much can run without the final three stage sixes. Let's see what it does. 409 mile per hour, fully maxed. 7.792. Okay. So 7.792 puts it right near where some of the other fast stage fives, like for example, the LaFerrari and the McLaren 720S both run around this time, if not slightly better. The problem with this time is that it is very likely to push you into Supermax, meaning the bracket that goes from 7.0 to 7.8 or so. Or it'll put you in 7.8 to 8.0 lobby, which you might be more competitive in, but it's definitely not a great spot to be in. The dyno should put you in a slower bracket, meaning a 7.7 at a 7.9 dyno should be a competitive lobby, but also with the car fully max, it's very easy to bump it. What you need to note is that legendary golden cups usually don't run into the exact final time, final max time. There's always a margin of error, usually 3, 4 tenths, 5 tenths slower. If we follow that theory, then instead of a 7.7, you might be looking at about an 8.2 for the final legendary golden cup, or maybe even easier for the golden cup, somewhere around 8.3, but the evolution cup will be likely an 8.0 or 7.9. That would only make sense based on the stage 6 effects. This car also is extremely effective in live, but is it going to be effective fully maxed? Well, let's see who we're up against. If you're in the 7.9 or slower lobby, you have a chance. But if you start seeing a lot of these guys, okay, all these guys run faster than 7.7. So in that situation, this car fully maxed in this lobby is nothing more than fodder for somebody else, unless you just plan to trade. Now against one of these guys, you have a chance. Against any other one so far I've seen, you don't have a chance if you want to win. If you just want to swap, of course, that's a great car. No problem whatsoever. If you want to live race this car and you don't like to give swaps away, I suggest you to tune it down a little bit by removing some parts. This is not a car that needs to be tweaked on the tune to beat dyno. It just does it. So all you have to do is remove some parts and you'll now have a effective and competitive live racer. How do you do that? Well, take out this guy. Take out this guy. And take out this guy. So you now have an 8-second plus car, which should put you in the 8-second plus lobby, 8.1 lobby, hopefully. Let's see what it says, 8.164. Remember, this will run 7.9. Most of the cars in the 8.0 to 8.3 lobby don't run into the 7th. Even if they do, it's marginal. So you should be somewhat competitive. Does it mean that you won't run into a car that was down-tuned from the 7.4 lobby into the 8.0? No, you can still get beat by those, but you'll be somewhat competitive. Where you're actually much more competitive is when you get back into like the 9s and 10 lobbies. This car is very effective in those lobbies. So here, Aston Martin, I don't know if he's a 7.7 Aston Martin or he's actually a 8-second Aston Martin. I don't know. And he's an Apple, so the device won't connect with this. So let's try to find somebody else. Let's see who we're facing against. These guys look like they're still in the faster bracket than the one that I would like to be in, but we'll find out in a second if I can actually race somebody. It's just that it won't work with certain Apple devices. Looks like a lot of people in here pretty busy. Let's try Old Warrior. See what car he has. Aston Martin, Gold Star. No arrow here means it's going to kick me out. So compatibility is still an issue. All right, here we go. All right, let's try see how this plays out. If I can get a race in. And I can't. Miserable. This is the problem with live when you're running in a lobby full of devices that are not compatible to yours. All right, let's try see if this one will match. Nope. Yes, yes, it does match. Okay, great. Okay, so launching late is the key here. You got to see the red part of the one. Then it's this way. The others will charge out ahead of you, but you should be able to catch up and beat them pretty badly. Now, I will do a video on driving these cars in live, but one of the things you want to think about is you want to be able to keep the car closer to your dyno rather than outrunning it by a bunch when you don't need to. Right now, it's actually putting me in a lobby probably with 8.3 cars, which means some people will run 8.4, some will run 8.1s. It is very competitive. Notice that by slightly adjusting it away from 7s, you're now in a competitive lobby. So that's where this car could be very well off as far as being able to be somewhat competitive. Doesn't mean that guy's car was the most competitive one that I should have run against. Here's another guy with the same car. Let's try again and see what we are up against. Oh, iOS, not going to happen. I was kind of looking forward to trying out that race, but again, iOS, not good. I'm just going to try to get one more race in just to kind of showcase it, but it's not looking all that positive. Let's try Wildman. Arrow? No arrow? Yes, arrow. Okay, so there's a chance I can link with this person. Although I still have, oh, okay. Ooh, a Tiffany. Ooh, those can be tough. Okay, let's do this. Late launch. And can we catch him? Yes, we can, and we can slow down too. Whew. 2 wins in a row. Let's see what he ran. I slowed it down to 8.1. He ran about 8.2. So you're in a competitive lobby, but understand that this is the first time I'm using this car in a live lobby. You have a matchmaking advantage. Once you finish a few races, jump out, jump back in, that'll change. We'll discuss that when I put the live racing primer video up. I will be discussing all these issues in that particular video. So let's go and summarize what we got with this car. This is going to be an interesting car to run in the Legendary Cup. My feeling is you're going to need all of the big stage 6s to make it through that cup. And if you only have the turbo, intake, and trans as your primary 3 stage 6s, you probably can forget about getting through the Legendary Cup. Overall, a beautiful car. Have some nice new coloration patterns, wheel colors coming. Looking forward to that, but I am not going to waste golden keys on it because I already have the car from Milestone. And this particular video, I want to once again acknowledge and thank the Mysterious Stranger account for giving me access to an LB Aventador Coupe that has all the stage 6s. Let me know what you think. Feel free to ask me some questions about this. I will answer what I can. One thing I want to remind you again is that with the sprints, as far as the sprints, this car does not really have a lot of tuning margin when it comes to that. Although the sprints, it is really pretty decent. And because of the way the top speed is on this car, you should not have any issue hitting any speed traps in the event. What you're going to have issues with is if you're missing parts and not something else. All right. Feel free to comment. Please subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications when I put up the next few videos. What's going to be coming soon is the LB R8 Stage 6 effects, as well as the Bugatti Super Sport, Veyron Super Sport Stage 6 effects, as well as a primer on getting some of these fast acceleration but slow top speed cars into a higher speed for the speed trap. So stay tuned, and those videos will be coming up. And if you're subscribed, you'll get notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.